Kapla, viewers. Welcome back to Housecoat Podcasting. I am Takeshi Yamato, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Jordan will be running late. He is dealing with his moon-faced assassins of joy. Hopefully he will be able to join us. Anyway, recently we discussed the Odyssey class and the USS Enterprise F, which has recently been canonized.
Recently for us, that is.
Yeah, as of the time of this recording. We decided that today we would follow up on that with its counterpart, the Bortasqu, the flagship of the Klingon answer to the Odyssey and the flagship of the Klingon Empire in Star Trek Online.
The ultimate evolution of Klingon battlecruiser design, at least as of 2412.
Yup.
Clearly descended from the D4 and D5 classes, as well as the D7 and everything that succeeded that thing.
Yeah. This is the most recent evolution of battlecruiser design, and one of the largest starships in the Klingon Empire to date, if not the largest. You'll probably see an episode of the shipyard either shortly before this or shortly after, where Ron and I stat the beastie for Star Trek Online, as well as statting the IKS Bortasqu herself.
Oversized monstrosity.
Yeah. This thing is effing huge. And it's got quite a lot of firepower as well. Disruptor cannons, heavy torpedoes, disruptor autocannon system in the bow.
That's what all those little red dots are.
Aside from the deflector dish in the middle, yeah. And the little bird of prey in the back.
The Housecoat class is a tiny little bird of prey, effectively the chimera of Starfleet.
Well, the Aquarius of Starfleet.
Yeah. I'm not a little enthused about talking about this thing, as you might have guessed. I was expecting something a little different.
Yeah, well, oh well. It's something we can talk about. It works, and we can say, and as I said, we can, once we're done with the ship itself, we can go further in depth into the culture that spawned it.
Which brings us to the name of the ship. Bortasqu. In Klingon, Bortasqu means fierce revenge.
Or fierce vengeance, or whatever.
Regardless, this is not the first ship to actually bear that etymological name.
Yes, the Bortas has long been a name used for the Klingon flagship. About the only major exceptions were Kronos 1.
That might not actually be an exception to the rule. Remember, Kronos 1 is supposed to be analogous to Air Force 1.
Oh, right. So it's more like it. So Kronos 1 is more the designation of whatever ship the Chancellor is flying at the time.
Pretty much. For all we know, Kronos 1 could have been the IKS Bortas.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters very much either.
Yeah. The other exception that we do know of is the IKS Nagvar.
which might not even count.
Fair enough. That was the flagship of. It was the newest and latest and greatest flagship, warship of the Klingon Empire, and the flagship of their fleet as of the Dominion War.
It was also stated to be Martok's command.
Fair
Note
enough.
the quotations there. Changeling bastard.
Yeah. The real Martok, when he returned, took the IKS Rotaran, a bird of prey. He knew what made a war work.
Regardless, the first Bortasqu we know of is a D5 class battlecruiser, Enterprise era, commanded by Duras, son of Taral. Yes, that Duras.
Yeah. The House of Duras has had a long history of confrontation with Starfleet.
Starting with Archer, ending with Picard.
Yup.
Mostly at the hands of Worf, but...
Yep. And who knows if there were members of the House of Duras who clashed with Kirk.
we simply do not know.
Yeah.
The next Bortas we know of is a Vorcha class battlecruiser, which may have been which may have been the ship that transported Kimpek, though that is exceedingly unlikely.
Yeah. The ship that transported Kimpek may well have been IKS Vorcha.
But the one commanded by
Gowron
was the IKS Bortas, at least during the start of the Klingon Civil War.
Yeah.
And for all we know, that Bortas could have been destroyed during that Civil War and replaced with another Bortas of the Negvar class.
Yeah. It could have been. Who knows?
Klingons don't tend to have don't tend to keep their ships around for a while. The designs are eternal. The ships are not.
Yeah, the designs are eternal. The ships, well, Klingons are warrior people. They go into war a lot, and their ships, while they can be built to take a pounding, there's only so much pounding you can take.
Which brings us back to the Bortasqu.
Yes.
Designed primarily as a counter to the Federation flagship known as the Odyssey class.
Yes.
Because that's kind of what the Klingons do. They design a ship that is roughly equivalent to the latest and greatest capital ship of the Federation. Now, It is highly likely that due to the fact that the Oddy was pushed back in the timeline significantly, the ship could have been around in the 2380s.
Yeah. Of course, we do not know that, and until that is revealed, we are assuming that it was still first launched in 2409.
Klingons do tend to be a little bit behind on the construction of their capital ships.
Yeah. The Galaxy class was launched in 2350 something.
59, roughly.
Yeah, 2359. While the Vorcha class first entered service in 2367.
66.
Right.
The Defector.
But, yeah. The Bortasqu is the most recent, latest, and greatest evolution of Klingon battlecruiser design philosophy. And a Klingon battlecruiser design philosophy. Just giant, big, giant, forward firepower, full steam ahead. I would not be surprised if ramming was something that this thing was designed to do. Ramming and surviving. Uh, yeah. But yeah, the Klingons, as I said, are a warrior people. And war is what they do. And what they have done for ages.
Alright. Just as we showed the Oddy in
Oddy.
combat. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to address this first. There is no legendary Bortasqu.
Not yet. Cryptic, please. We want it. We want one.
In fact, give me a moment. Why do Federation ships keep popping up here?
Don't know.
I don't want to cooperate. Story of my life. Here it is.
Yeah.
The original Bortasqu battle cruiser.
Ah, yes. This was revealed around the 2nd anniversary, same time as the Oddy. And it was basically just a generic version of what would soon become the Bortasqu.
And there were 3 Tier 5. This one was an oddity. A good oddity, but an oddity.
Yeah. There were 3 Tier 5 and 3 Tier 6 variants. Tactical, War, and Command. The War version was the engineering, and Command was science. It was certainly like I said, no legendaries yet.
And we might as well show the damn thing in battle. It is a battle cruiser.
Yup. But yeah. As I said, the Klingon people are a warrior race. Battle is basically their life. They may claim, in terms of the Planet of Hats trope, the Klingons' hat is violence. They may claim that their hat is honor, like the ancient samurai of feudal Japan. But well, the most honorable Klingon is the one who grew up outside of their culture. I speak, of course, of the most famous and most beloved Klingon, Worf, son of Moog, of the House of Martok.
Potentially captain of the Enterprise.
No.
Regardless. As with all Klingon vessels, for the most part. It has a cloaking device, though not exactly the best cloaking device.
Yeah.
Presumably because...
It's just so flarkin' big.
I mean, Starfleet could make it work, and hell, they probably will. It's Starfleet, it's what they do.
Yeah.
But the Klingons are not as technically adept.
Or, in a more sarcastic frame of reference, based on the headcanon of this one guy, that I think is actually quite possible. The Klingons do not have the Doc Brown mindset that human scientists do. I speak, of course, of Doc Brown in Back to the Future, which basically, according to this one person's headcanon, which I find kind of funny, all human scientists are Doc Brown. And but yeah, Klingons are violent. They're even violent in their relationships. This was first really shown in a second season episode of TNG when Wesley had a crush on a visiting alien princess and went to Worf for dating advice. And Worf gave a roar. Are you saying I should roar at her? No. Men do not roar. Women roar. And they throw heavy objects and strike at you. What does the man do? He reads poetry. He ducks a lot.
Not wrong.
Yeah, not wrong. And then of course there's the stories of Kalas and Kara.
Let's not
Showed me. Yeah, showed me. Yeah. But basically, yeah.
Yeah, you might have noticed. I do not give the Klingons any attention.
Yeah. But yeah.
Let's compare this. All rares, well, very rares, a couple of ultra rares, not much else.
Yeah. And then there was one time on Voyager when they ran into a Klingon warship.
That form was flesh.
That was the one talking. That was the one that first introduced the concept of the Kuvama. But Harry Kim came to sickbay with a bite mark. Is that a bite mark? One of the Klingons attacked me. What'd you do to provoke him? Not him, her. And she wasn't so much provoked as she was aroused. So yeah, Klingon relationships and sex are violent. Very much so.
Where the hell is that last tentacle? There it is. But yeah, you might have guessed, I haven't exactly paid much attention to the Klingon side of things.
Yeah. But yeah. And then there was looking for Parmach in all the wrong places on DS9, where...
Oh, God damn.
Yeah. and Worf helped him romance Grilka. And then when Quark and Grilka were in the throes of passion, Dax stepped in and thus began a really fun relationship. And Bashir lists off all of Quark's injuries. What have you been doing? You mean, what have we been doing? Never mind. I don't want that particular mental image running around in my head. I'll just treat you. And then Dax and Worf walked in. What happened to you two? Oh, if you must know. No, I don't need that particular mental image either. In fact, I'm going to stop asking that question altogether. People will come in, and I will treat them, and that's all. Now, take a seat. I'll get to you in a bit. You call me a DS9 fanboy all you want, Ron. There were some funny moments in that show.
Do you see me argue with
Fair enough.
I am eternal!
Yeah, not exactly the best showing for a Klingon
This
ship.
is not the end!
Then again, as stated,
He doesn't touch the Klingons all that much.
if at all.
Yeah.
In fact, this is the first time this particular Klingon has seen any action in
Probably a few years.
weeks, actually. I apologize, I have to actually look this up.
Ah.
Eye of the Storm. As of the time of this recording, that was over a month ago.
Ah.
Wow.
This is your YouTube Klingon.
Yeah. It's the only one actually has all the gear attached to it.
Gotcha. But yeah. So that was the mighty Bortasqu, and a bit of a segue into a discussion on the Klingon Empire proper. They are a passionate, violent species, and yet they still the gentle and surprisingly artistic.
The warrior societies that create the greatest works of art.
Yeah.
Seriously, look at Japan.
Fair enough. Whether that art be physical or auditory. I will spare you the song because Ron does not like me singing it.
He does not have a good singing voice. To be blunt, none of us do.
Fair enough. But yeah.
And I am not going to torture any of you.
Yeah. But yeah, the Klingon war song it has become as much of an icon. It has become an icon of Klingon Empire. About as much as Worf or Martok or even Gowron. Hear, sons of Kahless. Hear, daughters too. The blood of battle washes clean. The warrior brave and true.
Sorry, I'm just looking for someone to offload all this crap to. Ah, there he is.
Right. Yeah, and of course, The Klingons, and then of course there was the undiscovered country. Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 4. You've never experienced Shakespeare until you've heard it in the original Klingon.
And then there's Chang.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
There's a
Chang.
reason I love that scene. Well, that particular part of the movie. Mostly Chang spinning around in a chair and his weapons officer going, "What the hell?"
Yeah, as Chang cries out, "Cry, Hammer! And let's slip the dogs of war!" Bones! Where's my torpedo? Bet you wish you'd stood in bed.
Him and me both.
Yes. Bird of Prey is available. The Burrell Bird of Prey is another one of the mainstay ships in Star Trek Online. And the Tier 5 and Tier 6 versions even have the Chang cloak, letting you fire while cloaked. Torpedoes only, but
Do you really need anything else? You could just quote
Yeah.
Chang while you're doing your thing.
yeah.
But if we let this keep going, Take is going to be going on and on about the DS9 moments, DS9 Klingon moments. And I don't think Jorn is going to be popping in today. Perhaps
Yeah.
he did it intentionally. After all, he hasn't exactly been in a Trek mood lately.
Yeah.
Don't blame him. But
Yeah.
it does make a sad gibble.
Yeah.
On the subject of dealing with certain things. I am gonna have to deal with this thing eventually. Gonna have to get my golds. And it's going to suck.
Yep.
Bye.
So long.